check in with before we get started. I want to check in with you guys. Um, and this will just be like popcorn style. What is your understanding of, let's say, framing and reframing? Just trot out answers. I just want to I want to get a check of where you guys are at, where some of you are at.
Anybody.
Framing is like how you hold the conversation, and reframing is like changing the person's idea, like their belief system.
Okay. Okay. What else? Yeah. I'm gonna start calling on people if no one's gonna answer.
So I can go ahead and so what I think is changing someone's view of reality based on yours. So helping them see
Mm.
something different.
Okay, helping them see something different. Okay. What does it mean to frame? Let's forget about reframing for a second. When I put a frame on something or I'm framing an idea, what am I doing?
Basically directing their attention towards a specific direction when it comes to where the thoughts are going.
Okay, to focus their attention on something. I like that. What else?
Anton, go ahead.
Are you showing their consequence like in your frame, as in you're showing them like what they've done and why it isn't a good idea?
Uh-huh. Yeah, what they've done and maybe why it's not a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. Great. And so what do you think is the difference between framing and then reframing?
So I think like I'd probably call it like pre-framing. Pre-framing is sort of like laying out exactly what they've done, and then at the end you would ask like, is that clear? And they would respond with what you're looking for, which would be like, oh yeah, that's exactly it. And they would tell you the consequence, and then the reframe would be, okay, so given that earlier you said the fact plus the consequence,
Mhm.
and then you would ask them, so given that you understand this, doesn't make sense how your mindset doesn't really line up with the facts that you're given, and instead you give them what it actually is, but it's like a very soft blow, and it's like giving them the reality in a very gentle way.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's a good answer, Anton. It's definitely in the tactics. It's certainly part of it. I want to go one step up. Like, let's just think about this for a second. And like, if I'm framing an idea or I'm reframing an idea, right? What am I in? If we start at like, let's say the most simple explanation for it.
I'd say it's probably just directing their or setting expectations of where their focus should be, and then reframing is bringing their focus back to where it should be if they leave that
Uh-huh. Okay. And where it should be based on who?
on whoever set the frame, so the closer.
Okay. Okay. So let me just give me a second here. I'll share something with you guys. Okay. Yeah, someone wrote here, Yaya. I don't know if I pronounced your name right, based on the right thing. Yeah, we have some answers in the chat here. Let's see. Context and perspective they see through, yeah, influencing his reality, introducing him in yours based on the right thing. But who determines what that right thing is? Right, exactly. It can be subjective, but I get where you're coming. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Taking authority, counter back. Yeah, these are all really good answers, guys.
Can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the way that I see it is like everyone has their own frame, and the frame is like the perspective that you see the world, like kind of like the lenses that you see it. So the
Hmm.
prospect's gonna come to the call with a certain frame that they see the world view,
Yeah.
as well as the closer. So your job when it comes to like reframing is shifting their perspective to a new one and allowing them to see things from a different perspective. So that's what
Yeah.
I think reframe could be determined as.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, these are all good answers. I wanted to start off to, get the blood flowing. But I'm going to share my screen now and then I'll walk you guys through how I think about it and I'll take you through a little teaching here. And then we'll just do a lot of practice and again, we'll flow from there. So, let me do this here. assuming everyone can see this here. So again, a lot of good answers here. The way I think about it is like this, okay? They're closely related to one another, right? You can argue that when you're framing something, it could be in response to a baseline or something that you're trying to, set some new context. But just to keep it simple here, when I talk about framing, I mean verbally and or non-verbally defining a person's situation or context with meaning. That's all it is. I'm setting context. I'm setting a reference point. Someone said setting attention, right? Or directing attention. I think of this as more of an offensive maneuver because you're setting a frame before they do. You're sort of like setting the stage from within how you want them to look at whatever it is you want them to look at, or how you want them to think about whatever it is that you're selling. Okay? Yeah, this sets psychological context. It sets a reference point. So if you're going into your meetings, you can think about this for a second, the implications of this. If you go into a meeting and you're not setting any sort of frame about who you are, what you do, or even the industry that you're in or that your buyer's in, you're basically at the mercy of their frame, of however they appear to be, how they think about it or how they think about you. Okay. So this is giving you, you don't have to, this is totally coming out in terms of, yeah, I'm setting the stage first. I'm not responding to anything. But when you reframe, it's when you're redefining. So I bolded this for a reason. If you think about framing, I'm defining. I'm always defining. If I'm reframing, I'm redefining. So this I think of as more of like a defensive maneuver. It's in response to an opposing frame.
We have to attract it through the conviction and faith and
Okay. I hear somebody if you want to
doing the work, of course. So
mute.
that's a little spiel.
Okay, thanks. So let me think what else I want to say about this. I think it's important to know just the distinctions between the two, because first of all, you have choice. When you come into a meeting, you know I'm going to be framing things, but then they're going to be reacting to whatever I'm saying, and then I can reframe if I need to, and or they're going to be coming at you with their own stuff, and you want to have the skills and the tools to be able to reframe. Okay, so this session, I want to focus more on the cognitive aspect of it because there is another element to reframing where it's also in the body. Like there's a feeling to it as well. So I don't want to spend too much time there, but just to tell you that it's important at least to start with the high level. Okay, so there's two types of reframing. Okay, there's content reframing and context reframing. So content reframing, changing the meaning or interpretation of something. So you're essentially asking yourself, what else could this mean? So if somebody says something to you and you want to reframe, you could always ask yourself, well, what else could it mean? And then you can provide a different definition. Okay. And if it has enough energy behind it, they might adopt it as their new frame or their new worldview. Okay. But then you can also change the meaning of something by changing the context. Right? So you keep the content the same, but you change the situation or the setting that it's viewed in. So you're essentially asking yourself, in what context could this be useful or be relevant? Okay, and we're going to work through some examples here, but just to put some definition here. Okay, so let's make this active, okay? Let's start with content reframing. Without knowing any other context, the buyer says this is expensive. Just taking this at face value, what else could it mean if you wanted to reframe away from expensive? Because expensive obviously has a lot of negative association for many people.
That they can afford it. It's out of their budget.
Okay, it could mean that they can't afford it, but let's say you want to reframe to something positive.
Like this is kind of premium or something.
Yeah, premium. What else? Any other ideas?
But he likes cheap stuff, usually. You like cheap stuff?
Yeah, but just think about that for a second. Imagine a buyer told you, what's your name? Kevin. Kevin, hey, this thing is expensive. And you say, well, it seems like you like cheap stuff.
No, like yeah, I see where you're coming from. It would be a bit more different, like framing like nothing usually like you don't usually like anything that's cheap. Usually the most of the things you like are on the expensive side. Why is that? Why do you not mostly like the cheap stuff? Like that kind of thing was my idea
Mhm.
with it.
Mhm. Yeah, so essentially along the same lines of I want to get them focused on, let's say, the value or
Yeah.
premium, right? Okay, cool. Great.
Can
How
it
would you guys
be a question as well, or does it have to be like a statement?
No, it could be a question or statement.
Well,
You could
compared
take
to
whatever
what?
you could take what
Right.
Kevin said or what Marcus said about being premium, and you can just reframe to a question. Well, do you prefer premium or yeah, this is really expensive. Oh yeah, that's fair. We certainly can be expensive in some scenarios. So some of our customers were definitely expensive, but do you prefer premium or you could just say we're premium. This is expensive. I hear you. We are premium. We're certainly a premium service or product. Do you believe me if I say that we're premium? Or are we just charging a lot because we're greedy? Yeah, there's more to it, but I just want to keep it here. Like, how would you reframe that? How would you reframe cost? What's another way to,
Investment.
Investment.
yeah, investment. Cool. How would you reframe small? We're not a small firm, we're
A
exclusive.
boutique.
Exclusive, but
Boutique. I like that. Yeah, boutique, exclusive. And as we go through these examples, guys, like I want you to just sort of slow down, drop into your body, and really feel the difference between the two. Okay? Feel the difference between the two. It's going to cost you 50K versus, well, the investment's going to be 50K, right? Well, we're a pretty small firm. We're actually boutique. We're small by choice, right? Timelines. How would you reframe timelines?
Priorities.
Yeah. I think all of you follow me because you guys have gotten all of these right. Okay. Timelines, priorities. Yes. Priorities dictate timelines. You think about your own life, right? You have timelines based on priorities, and then those timelines shift based on those priorities, right? How would you reframe cheap?
affordable,
Affordable.
Affordable.
Yeah.
accessible,
Affordable. Yeah. How would you reframe complicated?
intricate,
What was that?
intricate,
Intricate.
Complex.
Okay. Intricate. What was the other one?
I said complex.
Complex. Can also be negative, can it? People don't like to buy things that are complex.
Detailed.
Okay, detailed. Okay.
Intentional.
Intentional. Okay. What about
Advanced.
advanced? Okay. It's a little scary. You guys gotta, here's a tip. Like when you're reframing, just to always keep in mind, like how, imagine you are the buyer experiencing you, and you tell somebody whatever thing that you want to tell them. Notice how it feels in your body. If it doesn't feel good, then the buyer's probably not going to feel good with it either. We're mirroring organisms, like as a species, all we do is mirror each other. So there's something called mirror neurons, and we have everybody has these. And so when something fires, you look at someone crying or someone happy, the same mirror neurons in you will start to fire, and that can influence your emotional state, right? So imagine how the buyer is going to react to it or respond to it. So if you tell somebody, if somebody says to you, this thing seems complicated, and then you tell them, well, we're quite advanced. It's like you have done nothing to alleviate the real fear, which is that this is beyond me, right? This is why I said there's an emotional element to reframing. There's a subtext. I'm telling you it's complicated, but what am I really saying to you? I'm afraid. I'm afraid this thing is going to make me look bad if I buy it. Or It's going to expose a vulnerability or whatever it is that I don't want to tolerate, that I don't want to feel. So I have to find a way to reframe this without lying to soften it. Right. And I'll give you an example of the reframe that I chose for complicated in the next thing, but let's continue. Too many features. How about that? If somebody said to you, I don't know how many of you sell software, but it doesn't matter. I mean, if somebody says to you, this is too many, whatever, too many features, this seems like a lot of features for us.
Yeah,
How would
it's a
you,
complete
Very
solution.
complete.
sorry, one at a time?
It's a complete solution.
It's a complete solution. Okay. What else?
Hol-
Can you say that again?
Holistic.
Holistic. I like that.
It's all
Covers
in
all the
one.
issues.
Say it again.
I just said like covers all the issues or something.
I didn't understand what you said. Can you say that again?
Yeah, like just like covers everything there
Oh,
is basically. Like covers everything.
can you come up with a word for that?
I said all
That's
in one.
a good question.
All in one. Okay. I mean, here's the thing with all in one, everybody's all in one today. And it's been like that, especially in SaaS. Everybody wants to be all in one. So there's a bit of a commoditization there. We're all in one. When I hear all in one, I hear bloated, which you'll often find in B2B, right? When you say something like all in one, it's like, what do I have to overpay for and actually you create the justification that you're too expensive. When you say something like all in one to someone that's not wanting that, so you got to be careful. What you're doing is you're essentially giving them the justification. I don't need the all in one. I just needed you to do this like process for me. That's it. I don't need the automations. I don't need all the extra bells and whistles. No wonder you guys are so expensive. We're gonna go with the cheaper competitor. And this happens to you guys all the time. And it might not be this specific example, but this is what happens. So what else do we have for too many features? How else would you reframe it?
Not missing
Obviously, the
features.
context is important, particularly with B2B, but how I would usually reframe it is they appreciate kind of redundancies and they say, like, look, there are too many features here. We're not saying you have to use all of them. There are some very specific, but as you go X, as you progress, as you use this, what we find is a lot of people run into this extra issue or this thing where having this feature already baked in-house can be beneficial instead of you effectively having to look for another solution in like a few days' time. So more like redundancy, and I don't want to call it plan B, but having all bases covered, but emphasizing they don't have to use all of them.
Yeah. So I want to challenge you, Josh. You did a great context reframe. What did Josh do there? Did anyone notice the difference between what we were doing here versus here? He was changing the context, right? So what is it? What you mean example? What do I mean?
Instead of just changing the meaning itself, he put it in a different situation, which the situation itself gave it a different meaning.
That's right. Yeah. Now, Josh, can I challenge you to think of maybe just one word to change too many features? Or maybe two words, whatever, but like in a really succinct answer. I know I'm putting you on the spot. You're in front of a bunch of people.
No, that's fine. I'm busy. This is what sales call is all about, right?
Yeah.
I would say thorough. Thorough, however you want to pronounce it.
I love it. I think that's the one I used. Great. Yeah, thorough. See, why and why am I doing this? Why do I say because these things happen so fast in a sales call, you'll find yourself like a little nervous and then you'll start giving an explanation for an answer as an example. But sometimes all you need to say is just that one thing in the moment and then you move on from it. Doesn't always happen that way, but sometimes it does. Sometimes they're going to make an offhand comment. Oh, this is too many features. Well, we're thorough. Or oh, well, we're enterprise grade. So, and then you move on. And other times you're going to do the context reframe where you're going to just change the setting. I don't want you to get too bogged down into like, am I going to do this one or that one, but just to know the differences between the two, that you have options. Yeah. So if I wanted to, let's say, let's go to context reframing. If I wanted to change this is a reframe, this is expensive, and change the context, what might I do?
Like the classic is
Like
to
the
just compare that to what like
I didn't hear you, Kevin. Can you say it again?
yeah, so the classic one is just to compare the cost or like the cost of what they pay for the program, the solution, whatever, to what would be left on the table if they keep doing what they're doing now and not change. Like for me, for like construction companies, is it more expensive to invest 5,000 into your marketing so you can get XYZ results, or keep leaving $60,000 on the table every single month for another year, like you have done already?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Kevin, let me give you a tip.
Yeah.
So if you're in that situation, and I like that you're talking about for the last year, can I ask you a question, Mr. Prospect? Were you doing the same process the year before that?
Yeah.
Great. And then the year before that?
More or less, yeah.
More or less. Okay, so would it be fair to say for the last 3 years you've been essentially running this process the same way that you're looking to solve for now, right? And
Yeah.
would it be fair to say that if we change nothing, that if you change nothing, that this process would essentially be unchanged and it would continue for another year?
Yeah. That
Okay,
would be the case.
right. So we determined that the problem is costing you about what, $6,000 a month. So this problem's actually been going on for 4 years, so it's costing you closer to 300 grand,
Yeah.
right? This isn't a God, I'm so bad at math. This isn't a 72,000 or 70 grand problem. This is a $300,000 problem. And you look at him and you say that with a straight face. And then if you really want to like twist the knife, you say, "Wait, but that can't be right. Can it?"
Like surely you haven't been losing.
No, no,
300 grand.
I must be doing something wrong because I'm not the best at math here, but like that can't be right, can it? 300 grand over the last 4 years? Does that feel true to you? Well, I don't know if that's the exact number, but yeah, I mean that's yeah, yeah. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
okay. So what do you want to do? So, no pressure on you as a seller. There should never be any pressure on you. You have the solution, you know it works.
That's a very interesting way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah. So coming back to the context reframe, this is expensive. Yeah. Relative to, right? What about your company is bloated? How would you reframe that? Changing the context.
What do they mean when they usually say your company's bloated? Like, is it like
Yeah, yeah. I purposefully gave you no additional context because I just want you to focus on what was said. But when somebody says your company's bloated, a classic example is you're trying to sell software, you're trying to sell a product or something, and then you tell them the investment. And then the justification is like, well, you guys are a bloated company, so that's why you charge so much. And by bloated, what do I mean by bloated? You tell me.
maybe like a
Probably
very
alluding to too many
well-known.
staff.
Can you guys say it
Yeah,
again?
Link guy.
Why don't we go one at a time? Was it Link Eye? Did I pronounce your name right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like my understanding is like maybe it's very well known, or maybe it's like when they say your company's bloated, it's like there's just a lot of features in there that they may not need. I'm not too sure.
Okay. Josh, did you want to add something? Or Anton?
Yeah, I was gonna say usually the bloat is them referring to they think, again, coming back from the frame, is
Yeah.
like that there are too many people for what it's fulfilling. So for me, it just comes back to either recontextualizing, if we're going to tackle a reframe, like how much we're fulfilling, or at the root, which I think would be more effective for B2B, is just giving them the okay, but like the staff we have, would you rather have one person that's kind of mediocre at everything, or 10 people that have a specialization so that together we have a better team? That's the question. Like you can have one guy that's kind of okay, 50% everything, or you can have some guy that is like a fucking nerd and just excellence at this one thing, and we handpick those people.
Yeah. Anton, did you want to add something?
I was about to add, but I think Josh had it perfectly there.
Cool. Yeah. So company is bloated. You're slow, too many employees, too much bureaucracy probably in your company. You know, we're a fast-paced company, sales guy. We want to, you know, we want to get things done and we want someone on your side to call, you know, at any time we need help to execute on our projects. And we think your company's too bloated, right? That can be an example, and that's a tough one to deal with, right? So how do you reframe that? Cool. And taking the same thing with this is too many features, how would you change the context? I mean, I think we've answered it, but let's just say maybe someone else. I think we've had the same 4 or 5, which I appreciate. I love it. Let's have someone else take a stab at it. Someone that hasn't gone yet. There's no wrong answers.
I mean, I just hopped in. I'll go ahead and toss something in there. I feel like when somebody says the company's too bloated, likely would be like spread too thin across too many like focus points rather than just like one streamlined thing.
Okay. Okay. But you're saying that's another way that I'm saying, how would you reframe it? Lou, if I said to you, your company is bloated and I wanted you to reframe it, I know you just got here and I
Yeah.
appreciate you jumping in the pool here. How would you reframe it? Just answer this question right here. In what context would it be useful to have a bloated company?
In a sense that we've worked with a lot of people, so we know what works and what doesn't.
Okay. Okay. Um, so this will help orient you guys to what I like, because you're gonna ask, right? Like, how do I do that? How do I reframe? Well, answer these questions. That's all it is. What else could this be? What else could this mean if somebody says something to me? Or in what context could it be useful to have a bloated company? Right? Why do you know that saying nobody gets fired for buying IBM? Why? IBM's a bloated company.
Could you just be like, maybe it's a long shot, but just be like agreeing with him, just like it's true, like everyone just knows it, or something, because like you're in a defensive mode. I don't know if you could do it like that,
That's part of
or
it,
no.
sure. Yeah, that is part of it. I like yes, like in general, your reframes are going to work best when you provide no resistance, you know? Yeah,
Yeah.
but if any of you have done improv, right? You yes and don't yes but. Your company's bloated. Yeah, I appreciate that. We modeled our company after the government. Actually, if like, right, like there's so many ways you could play it and have fun with it and laugh and like just have a good time, right? But it's essentially asking in what context could this be useful? Your company is bloated, right? Or having too many features. What situation would that be useful, right? So let me show you guys my answers, okay? And to make this a little more experiential, I want you all to just like, why don't we try this? Let's do an experiment. Close your eyes. And I just want you to feel into the difference between the two. Because if you don't feel a difference, then this is never going to stick and you're not going to do it. You won't see the value in it. All right, everyone close their eyes and just feel into this. This is expensive. This is premium. Cost, investment, small, boutique, or niche. Timelines, priorities. Cheap, affordable, right? Complicated, thorough. Too many features, enterprise grade capabilities. This is expensive. Relative to the cost of your problem, it's not. Your company is bloated. Well, would you rather have an entire support team available to you for critical issues or one overworked support agent? This is too many features. Well, you won't need to switch platforms every time your needs evolve over the next few years. All right. So let's come back and I want you guys to know, like, what do you notice in the difference? Did you notice anything? I see Linka, you're nodding. You want to share?
It's definitely um you're turning like a negative into a positive, and yeah, just changing the way they see that situation into a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It feels safer.
Mm, mm. What
It's
did you
like you're
notice?
shutting down their nervous system, like the
Mm-hmm.
knee-jerk response.
Did you feel calmer as I was doing it, Thomas? Did I pronounce your name right? Thomas?
I felt like you had the answers.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you can feel my authority.
Hmm.
The buyer wants to feel safe in your authority. That's why they're coming to you for solutions. They don't want to talk to five different salespeople. They want to talk to the one that makes them feel safe. And part of that is the certainty and the conviction in your frame, in your worldview. You are inviting the buyer to enter your worldview. This is how we solve the problem. This is our approach. This is why we do it. You're welcome to join us or not.
Yeah, and another thing is like you build a gap again.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, because if you're talking about like your future problems, it's like you're widening the gap because it's not just your problem right now, but all the problems that comes afterwards if you don't
Mhm.
actually have all these features or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to show you guys one more thing here and to just see if I can get you guys to kind of drop back in, close your eyes again, and then feel the differences between these because reframes are not just for selling, it's also for your own beliefs, right? So feel the difference between this, okay? I can't, I won't. I have to, I choose to. I'll try, I'll do it, or I won't do it. I wish, I'm working towards. I don't have time, I choose to prioritize other things. Now, what do you guys notice with this? Let's come back.
Intention.
Intention. Yeah, there's more intention in the reframes, aren't there?
Responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Voice.
gonna about it too.
Clarity.
Say it. Can let's go one at a time again. Ooh.
I said the clarity.
Clarity. Yeah, clarity. Yeah. Yeah. Responsibility, clarity. Now here's the thing. Remember I said earlier that we're essentially mirroring species. When you identify this in yourself, you can identify it in the buyer. And if you're able to identify it in the buyer, what does that enable you to do?
Change their
Lead him.
perspective.
Lead them, understand them, make them feel seen, safe, heard, understood, and then you can lead them. So when a buyer tells you, I don't have time to look at this, yeah, I understand it's a choice. You're choosing to prioritize other things. All right. My favorite one is I can't. No, you won't. I can't get budget approved. No, you won't. It's not a priority, right? What this really enables me to do too is to find the truth and stop wasting my time on deals that are not going to go anywhere. Because when you take responsibility and you become aware, you could help the buyer take responsibility.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah, and then I'm going to stop my share and then we'll just go into a Q&A.
Okay.
I do not have a hard stop at the end of the hour, so I don't know, JJ, if we want to, yeah, okay.
Up
We
to
can
you.
continue.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Thanks a ton, man. So I am curious. Maybe I missed it. Maybe you mentioned it. Do you feel, because something I've heard in the past is like, okay, you have to be careful with the way you respond, right? Be a little low resistance. If somebody says, I can't, and you say, no, you won't.
Uh-huh.
Do you feel like that could build resistance, or would you say it that exact way, or would you frame it a little bit differently?
Your question indicates to me, Lou, that you're in your head.
Hmm.
Because if you are present and in your body and you're talking to someone and you're really attuned to them, you will instinctively know how to react. You'll have a more natural reaction. Because sometimes I've had clients like, I can't. I'm like, no, you won't. Or I've even talked to people if I'm selling training. Yeah, no, I can't. I'm like, you won't. And then other times I really soften it. So let me ask you this, Lou, like what do you think I'm doing in that moment to give them the response they need to hear in a way that they can receive it? What am I doing as a
Being present.
salesperson?
Yeah, just
Being
being present.
present. Yeah, being present, right? See how we're just sitting here? Nowhere to be, nothing to do. See, like we leave all the time in our meetings. I've reviewed so many sales calls, and one thing I always see across the board, the salesperson leaves. They withdraw, they disassociate, they leave. They literally lose presence, and it shows up in different ways. One way is the buyer's talking about a problem, and then the person just goes back to their checklist. Okay, I understand that that's a challenge for you. So, did you have a timeline of when? Let me continue down my checklist instead of just sort of hanging out there and like attuning to the buyer and caring, right? How would you sell to this person if you cared about them and were like their thinking partner? If someone you cared about was trying to solve this same problem and you weren't a salesperson, you weren't identified with the role, how would you sell to them? I promise you it's going to be different than what you're probably doing now. Yeah, Lou, how does it land? I want to check back with you.
Lands very well. Yeah, very well. Just reflecting like from like even like the calls that I had today.
Yeah.
Um, I guess just to like share a thought because there's so many like different methodologies or like things. So like there's one side of the spectrum where it's like, okay, it's always good to have a process and like, okay, have a general direction of the conversation, right? And then there's the other side, which is like fully like fuck the script, you just go in and you just completely focus on them and everything's based on what they say. And I feel like when I first started, I was completely off to that end, just trying to focus on the conversation, not having any guidelines, which sometimes maybe I likely was doing it incorrectly, right? Sometimes would harm me, sometimes would benefit me. And then when I have a little bit more of at least a general idea of where I'm taking the conversation, that would probably benefit too. So it's really trying to find, at least for me, at least the way I'm viewing it from myself, it's like, okay, is the right thing to do trying to find that middle balance, or is it just fully just have that level of presence and just treat it as if you're talking to somebody you love?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what's going through my mind. Yeah.
Lou, I'm going to say something and I just want you to notice how it feels.
Yeah.
I'm still figuring it out for myself too. Because the truth is both of those things are correct. And so the real answer is somewhere in the middle. You have a structure, you know where you're going, you know where you want to take them, you're deliberate about your questions, but you're also not too overly identified or too, let's say, afraid of deviating from the script that you lose presence. That you can actually hang out with the person and improvise a little bit. But anytime you feel like, wait, we're starting to go sideways, not forward, let me come back to my structure. Where are we in the call? All right. Are we still establishing context here, or are we talking about the reasons to change, or are we talking about solutions now? Right? Like that's how I think about a sales meeting or sales process. Is like I divide it in three parts and I work my way around the three parts. I'm either establishing context or getting context, world building, whatever you want to call it. And I'm doing that throughout this, wherever I am in the meeting. establishing context, reasons to change, and then solutions. And when I'm talking about reasons to change, I'm thinking to myself, like, um, I'm trying to get this person to feel the weight of their problem. Because if it's not in the body, if it's not felt, they're not going to move, you know? It's like, so that actually simplifies things for me. I mean, there's so many questions you can ask, but it doesn't matter as long as I know that's my intention and I have a couple examples of questions I can always fall back on. It's like I have an intent, right? And then solutions, obviously. Like, hey, here's I'm not going to keep you in pain. I got you to feel your pain and I got you to acknowledge your pain, but I'm not going to keep you in pain. Here's the way. Here's my way. And you can say no at any time, right? So my intention here, Lou, is like, and really for the group, I'm not trying to give you guys more frameworks or more things to, let's say, stress over, but I am providing my perspective that there is a happy medium between, it's an art form. It's like improvising within the structure that you have. You've internalized your structure, you know your process works. But then it's like, where is Lou in that process? Where is Kevin in that process? Where is, I'm just reading off names here, right? Where's Anton in that process? Can I feel the individual behind the framework and the process? If I cannot do it, then I will not feel completely safe buying this thing. Anyone? Yeah, we have a bunch of people here who raised their hands, so I don't know who wants to go first.
I can start
Thank you.
off. Appreciate the call. That quote that you said, make them feel the weight of their problems. Chef's kiss. My question, you half answered it through Lou's question, but let's say during a call you notice a prospect give a couple negative limiting beliefs or I can't or something of those nature. Would you call that out straight away? Or would you let the first one slide, but if they keep doing it later on and you notice it's a pattern, would you just call it out then?
Yeah, good question. So can you give me an example? Because the best way to answer some of these questions is to like real world it in your world. What are you hearing? Do you have an example?
Let's say it's not the right time. I don't have enough time to do X, Y, and Z. I'm just really busy. This and this. In your reframe, it's I don't prioritize it
Yeah.
enough. Would you, let's say the first time it could be just a Freudian slip or something like that. Maybe it's just they don't notice it
Yeah.
consciously. And so you let it slide. But after 5, 6 times of them saying, I don't have time, blah, 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 is that when you call it out? Or do you just
Yeah.
want to just bang?
Can I
And
ask
I
you a
noticed you
question?
said something.
The 5 or 6 times that they repeat themselves, at what point are you getting that later in the sales process or the sales deal, like the sales cycle or the meeting? Or because I imagine it's happening, you said 5 or 6 times, no one's just going to robotically say it's not enough. Yeah, like it's going to be happening throughout, let's say, an hour. And so my question to you is like, you're probably hearing that also towards the end too, like sprinkled throughout the hour, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing is, can you see how not addressing it is actually causing you to spend more time and energy with this person who's probably not serious?
Mm.
So in a way, I'm I'm going to default to confrontation, but not in a negative way, but I will confront it because whatever it is, if it's a Freudian slip or not, I don't care. I don't like if somebody says something like that, I'm not going to be like, oh, okay, haha, let me just convince them on the value and then show them why they should change now. That's shitty. That reduces my odds because sales is just a game of odds, right? In a way, it's just odds. Do I increase my odds or lower my odds by the moves I make? So by the end of this, after every time he's telling you that and you're not really addressing it, you're lowering your odds and you're wasting time and energy. So I would say the first thing to do there, Lewis or Louis, you address it immediately. But then you can do it in a way that is, you know, you can you have, let me give an example. Let me think. So somebody says, I don't know if I have the time for this, whatever. Um, they're like, yeah, that's fair. So I guess yeah. So you probably don't have the time for this then.
Mm. So just put it back on them.
Yeah, it's always back to them. They have the problem, not you. You're not sitting there. We all have problems, but what do you sell? Can I ask you, what do you sell?
Yeah, so right now I sell AI consulting.
Uh-huh. Okay. So can you give me an example of a problem you solve? What does the buyer complain about that would indicate a need for your solution? Like their language. What do they say?
I want to build something of my own. I'm sick of the corporate rat race, 9 to 5, that type of thing.
Okay. So the problem is I'm sick of this, status quo or whatever it is that he's doing, and I want to solve. And he's probably saying, I know nothing about AI, and it's probably overwhelming for him, and he wants help and he wants guidance, right?
Yeah,
So in that place where he says, like, I don't know if I have time for this, is this an inbound lead or outbound?
inbound.
So why am I here? Why are we here? Did you take this call with me because you're lonely? Are you bored? You don't say this, but like this is the ad. It's like I don't have time for this. Be like, that's totally fair. So yeah, you probably don't have time for this. And then what might he say to that? Let's just see.
I'm trying to think of like a specific scenario or like a case. They
Don't
jump
don't
on.
just imagine you're the buyer. Just imagine you're the buyer. Don't think. Just react. It's probably not the right time.
Yeah, I guess it's not the right time.
Yeah, fair. So what do you want to do?
I mean, the reason I booked in this call is just to see what you guys could do. So then when I do have time or when it is a better time, I could look into this further.
Okay. And so what do you anticipate would change in the near future that would give you the time to actually, do this?
So right now I'm just finishing up a project from work. And then after that, I've got a couple months to not take the foot off the gas, but I'll have more hours to be able to put into this.
Yeah. Okay. So why don't we do this? I'll send you some material and then let's check back in a few months because you know what's probably going to happen is you're going to forget this conversation. And then I'm going to send you a recording of this meeting that you're probably not going to watch because you don't have time, right? You're busy. So I think the best thing to do is let me send you some information and then I'll check back with you in a few months. Fair? Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. And you know what's probably going to happen is he's going to be like, wait, wait, wait. He's going to start coming back. And you're going to be like, I don't understand. You don't have time for this. Don't you have better things to do than this? You just want to disqualify. Get him to fight
Hmm.
for it. But you see, I at least, sometimes we forget as salespeople that getting a no is also a good outcome. It's not always
Yeah.
about convincing and getting the person to say yes. Sometimes it's about getting this guy to say no quickly, that he's not serious in the first 10 minutes, than taking an hour with him and trying to convince him why it should be worth his time. It's a losing bet, my opinion.
I like that. I do have one follow-up question
Okay.
to piggyback off that.
Go
How
ahead.
quickly would you disqualify someone in that scenario then? Or would you just be super detached from the outcome, just like you did with me, and make him fight his way back?
Well, I'm not being rude, like you're wasting my time, get off the call, but I'm just trying to find the truth. John, what do you mean when you say you don't have time? So can I ask you a question? Like, why are we here today? Well, I wanted to see now. Well, how does that just walk me through what you were thinking? So you want to have basically a meeting with us, learn more, and then I guess what in the next 6 months, change something, do something different? Is that really the best use of your time?
Hmm.
I mean, I could talk to you for more, I could tell you a bit more about us and stuff, but again, like I don't, and you just know, like this isn't going anywhere if he's not pushing back. Remember what I said? Be the thinking partner for them. Like everybody has this voice in their head that helps them reason and feel through decisions. Model it, embody it so they can recognize it. Like be that thing for them. You don't have an agenda. I'm just trying to find the truth. Is that really the best use of your time? What do you do? What are you doing right now? Well, I'm working, I'm doing that. I'd be like, you're probably too busy for this anyway. Why do you even want to get into AI consulting or whatever it is that you sell? Well, I was thinking about this. And then, so you might actually see that you uncover why he wants to buy, and then he actually just change his mind. But see, it's all about just trying to find the truth,
Hmm.
not trying to sell you anything.
Just digging deeper and staying detached,
Staying present.
staying present.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Who's
Tommy.
next? Who wants to go ahead?
Yeah, I'm next. So valuable so far, by the way. Thank you for sharing all this. So,
Thank
first
you.
question is in regards to objection handling, since that was what the lesson was about. What's a good frame of mind that you can hold to really, because sometimes I just find myself being combative, especially as the call drags on and they
Uh-huh.
still in the same spot. So how do you stay detached and in that same team kind of energy? And the second question will be more on discovery. How do you hold tension? Because sometimes I find myself kind of like solving or making them feel better about the problems when I should be like building up more tension. So how do you go about that dynamic?
Okay. Let's go to your first question. Can you repeat it in like maybe a more succinct question? Give me the first one.
Yeah. So objection handling.
Yeah,
So sometimes I find myself like almost like being too combative with the prospects. So how do you keep your
got it.
cool, and what's a frame of mind you adopt to make sure that you are on the same side of the table with them the whole way?
Yeah. Can I ask you, and obviously we're in front of a big group here. I'm not working with you one-on-one, but why are you combative?
Well, I guess it's like frustration, maybe. It's like when you're trying to explain something to someone, or they told you something, and they now the fears are kind of like taking over, so they became irrational in a way.
Yeah, yeah, no, I understand. I understand. So you get frustrated, right? So something in the moment, something that's happening with the buyer, you get frustrated. And as a result of feeling frustrated, you start to feel out of control. And so what do you do to get back control is you start to become combative, right? So let's hang out here for a second. It's tell me if this resonates. Do you have a demand on the buyer? Like,
I demand, as in what?
yeah, let me define it. A demand is something that we want from someone, but we don't expect to get it. I want this person to, validate me, buy my product and everything, but I don't expect it's going to happen. So I resort to all these defenses to try to control and manipulate because the feeling of not having it is unbearable. It's painful. I don't want to feel it. I don't want to feel powerless. I can't hang out there. I don't know myself there. It's not safe. Does that resonate?
Yes. So where I'm coming from, of course, there's a level of it which is attachment to a cell, perhaps, but I think more so is like, okay, so you tell me you want to make all these changes, and you know that this is what you need to go through that,
Hmm.
and they just can come up with a better answer than. And of course, I'm talking about like maybe 2 hour long objection handling sessions. Right? I just don't give up on these guys, right? So
Uh,
what I feel sometimes is that they just can't go over that fear in a way. They just go back on like everything they said throughout discovery,
mm,
and they
okay.
choose to like be the weaker version of themselves.
Uh-huh. Well, what if you just said to them, like, as I'm, John, let's say the prospect's name is John. Um, John, I'm sensing some fear or some hesitation here. Well, I'm thinking about, can I ask you like what's the fear, right? What's the fear? Is it that you will buy this and it won't work?
It's a lot of money. I know it can work, but it's a lot of money. I just don't know
Okay.
if I can actually afford it to make a
Uh,
profit
well,
eventually.
well, hang on a second. Let me ask you like bluntly, if you weren't afraid, would you have the funds? And also would it not put you in a bad spot to buy our service? Because if it puts you in a bad spot, I'm going to end the meeting now.
Oh, I see what you did. That was
What did
good.
I what did I do?
Yeah, you lean back. when he
Yeah.
expected you to come and like get him on the neck or something like that.
Well, yeah. Well, so hang on. Let's stay here for a second. So let's pretend he says to you that he can afford it. No, it won't put me in a bad spot. I'm just afraid, it is a lot of money. Okay, fine. So this is where you can start to work with, look, there's more to it. So, and there's only so much I can cover on one session, but like generally what I would do and what I have done many times, I'm like, okay, so let's hang out here for a second. So you do have the funds available to you. It won't put you in a bad spot to do this, but you're concerned it's a lot of money. Fair? Yeah, correct? Good. Well, let's play it out here. If you buy this and you invest all this money into this product or service and it doesn't work out, then what?
Yeah, then I don't know, I might have to, get a divorce or something. My wife is really not that supportive of this. I actually fell a couple times, so I just want that to happen again. I just can't afford it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I understand. Well, so hey, I mean, if you're going to buy this and it'll risk your marriage, so again, that kind of comes back to my first question I think you told me what I wanted to hear, John. I don't think you actually told me the truth. So in that case, I think your marriage is more important than what we have here. So,
Yeah, I just can't do it right now.
okay,
Sorry.
I
Sorry to waste
understand.
your time.
No, you didn't waste my time at all. Can I say something to you that I feel the impulse to tell you,
Please.
Mr. Prospect?
Yeah, of course.
We'll be here for you whenever you're ready.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah. Bye. Move on.
Yeah, but I feel like for me, like it's a moral authority type of thing. So we actually found this problem, like your brain has been holding you back, and I just can't fucking let you go and not help you through that change. It's like I
That's
fail on my
that's
duty.
that's your thing, Tomas. That's a control thing that you need to look at. You
Mhm.
can't control anybody. And if you come into your meetings trying to win, you will always be in conflict with yourself. You'll never be at peace. You ask me, how are you so calm and you're present and everything? Because I don't give a shit. It's not my problem. I care deeply, but I also don't give a shit. Because I'm aware of what's coming up in me. If I start to feel uncomfortable, why is this guy's so dumb? Why is he not buying this thing? He needs it. I'm doing you a favor. There's a demand there. Do what I say because you feel powerless. But if you needed nothing from there, from him, you didn't need him to validate for you, that you're powerful or whatever it is that it is for you. You could just hang out there. It's like respecting that they have their own autonomy too. And if you look at the world, how many people are making so many dumb fucking decisions against what they should be doing? It happens every day. If you go on X, it's just going to drive you mad. So there has to be a place where you're willing to let go because this is how it works. We co-create our reality. So the part of you that refuses to let it go is actually recreating the same disappointment that you felt over and over and over again.
Shit. And how do you balance that
Wait,
with?
hang on. No. You're going up to your head. You're leaving. Just hang out there for a second, okay? And I want to say, Tomas, you are so brave and fucking like, look at you in front of how many people do we have here? 44 people. And you are like confronting some things with me here. I applaud you for it. But don't leave. Stop going to your head. Stop. There's nothing to figure out right now. You let go of your need for power and control, and you will have more of it. That's the takeaway. Okay. And if you want to talk
Yeah,
about it after, like we'll share my email and I'm happy to talk about it with you more. Okay. But
thanks, man.
thank you for indulging me.
Appreciate it.
Anyone else?
Kevin.
Yeah. Apologies, that guy kind of got me stunned over here. Absolute gem of a call. I have a question about you using framing in an aggressive way. That part I didn't really like as an offensive and as offensive tactic rather than a defensive tactic. I didn't really get that part and how you can actually practically use it in that way.
Uh-huh. So what do I mean by offensive? I don't mean to offend. That's not what it means. So
Yeah,
think about an offensive, like I go on offense versus defense. So explain it to me, Kevin. I know nothing about framing and reframing. How would how would framing, let me go back to, oh, I don't have the screen here, but how would framing be an offensive maneuver if I'm defining context? You know what? Let me share my screen again and because I want you to get it. So hold on. You're going to answer it for me. You're going to tell me because I don't know.
let me reach my own answer.
Yep. You're a smart guy. Yep.
Okay. So it's basically like an offensive tactic because I control more or less the environment or the direction of their thoughts or attention towards something specific.
Okay.
Is that how that's how it's being used in an offensive manner rather than a defensive manner when I'm trying to redirect or redefine what they said or what they replied with. Here I said I'm basically setting the cage or setting the walls of where they can go when they can't go, in a sense.
Yeah. You're directionally there. Is that clearer now?
I mean, yeah, it's clear.
Okay. I'll give you another example here. So I turn up to a meeting and I just start saying things, right? I start saying, I start framing things about my solution. I might say something like, let me think. Uh, so what if I start off by saying like, well, hey John, in order for us to be able to work together, we need to know this criteria or this requirements, because based on our research, like these requirements, people that have these requirements tend to be the most successful that work with us. So why don't we start there? I'm setting a frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm setting multiple frame. Like they're kind of coming together. But what I've done was essentially I set a frame. I went on offense. I didn't wait for this guy to turn up and be like, "Yeah, so tell me more about your product or service and how it can help us." I'm not
Yeah.
doing that. I'm setting the frame. Now, if the person were to say to you any of these things that we talked about, right? Like if
Then
he
you
said something like, "Yeah, there's nothing groundbreaking about what you guys do," then you got to reframe. That's redefining what the person just said to you.
gotcha. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me
And
stop there again. Go
I
ahead.
had I had one other question tying back to something that you were saying to Tommy earlier.
Mhm.
The idea of basically you caring deeply, but at the same time not giving a shit.
Yeah. As I so eloquently said, yes. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
as so eloquently said, poetic, in fact. How?
Ah,
It's like a duality of the mind and it's conflicting at the same time. How?
consciousness. Consciousness. That's let me think how else I can answer that. It's consciousness. It's like, how well do you know your own ambiguity, Kevin? How well do you know your place? Like, how well do you know your shadow, your unconscious negative intentions? How well do you know yourself? The more you get to know yourself and the not so pretty places as well, particularly because we love to hide that away from the world and even from ourselves, the better you will be at ambiguity and holding two ideas. So and so that's the more woo-woo answer, but I believe it to be very true. And in my experience, personally and with clients, I've seen it play out that way. But then there's also a more technical answer to it. So if you can almost imagine you have an energetic impulse, right? You have this impulse to do something, right? To say something or whatever. then you sort of like clamp it down,
Yeah.
right? You clamp it down. So what you want to know is like, don't judge that impulse. You're going to have an impulse to close and to help people, but don't shut it down when things are not going your way, right? Um, and learn that it's just energy. That's how so you don't over-identify with whether the person closes or not. So it's like you look at yourself that way. So I'm in the meeting, I have this impulse that I really want this deal and I want to help this person, but at the same time, I know it's just energy. And that if I focus my attention somewhere else or don't even think about it anymore, it's going to go away, right? How many deals have, and this is for everybody, how many deals have you guys worked on where you were so pissed off that it didn't work out and then you forgot about it a week later?
Yeah.
If you can learn how to hold that in the moment, that awareness, then you won't ever be really that identified because you know that it's going to go away anyway, this negative feeling that I have towards it, and that you don't actually need any one deal to work out. I would hope that's the case. And if it's not the case, then you are in a really bad spot, and then you should do everything you can to get out of that spot. So you have to hold this idea that what do they say? Be super passionate about the big picture, but pessimistic about the details. It's like, I know I'm going to succeed in this role, but I don't need any one specific person to close to buy from me. I know what I got. I know I got the goods. And really feel that and believe it. But it's hard to get there when you don't also know the places in you that love to control and manipulate and dominate and all the things. You know, the ego is a tight grip. I don't know if that's the answer I don't know if that answers your
It
question, Kevin, but that's how I think about it.
it wasn't the answer I was expecting, but I could say it was the answer I needed. Yeah.
Okay. Is
Very
that true?
powerful.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I
Thank you,
believe
man.
you. Thank you.
All right, guys, we have time for one more question because we're gonna have a few people jump in here from Iman's team here in a second. So I'm actually gonna let one more person go, and I'm only gonna call on this guy because I know he could probably use it. Me and Mr. Bowtie, we're gonna talk a little bit more about getting him on here a couple more times. So don't worry if your questions are not answered. But I'm gonna call on Josh, Josh N. Um, yeah, please ask away.
Yeah, so first off, I want to say thank you for your undivided attention and your time and your presence.
Oh, thank
Um,
you, Josh. Appreciate you. I appreciate you taking this call while you're driving, as long as you're not
yeah,
driving.
yeah, no,
It
I'm
seems
not.
like you're in the passenger seat. You're good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
My question is essentially, how do I treat a buyer like someone I love when they're so rude from the beginning and detaching myself from them attacking me?
Yeah, great question. So here's the reframe for you. Um, well, here's the thing, you're taking it personal, and they don't actually know you. They don't know Josh. I mean, I don't know Josh, right? I don't, right? Like they don't know you. All they see is their projection of their experience with salespeople from the past, let's say, or from just how they think about salespeople. And there's also transference. If they've had bad experiences with salespeople in the past, they're going to transfer that onto you. So part of what being good at sales is navigating projection and transference. How do I navigate this and not take it personal and not lose my cool? So you have to, so here's something for you. Okay. Pretend I'm the buyer, Josh, and just notice how this feels for you. I don't see you. I don't see you. You're just like every other salesperson. What do you notice when I say that? You want to defend?
Yeah.
Hmm. Why?
I guess a way for me to prove myself that I'm not
Hmm.
like everyone else.
Hmm. You're fighting for existence. You're fighting to exist in the buyer's world because there's a part of you, Josh, that doesn't feel safe not being seen, heard, and understood. Now, if you can tolerate not feeling heard or seen or understood, you will overcome this challenge. That's the short answer. The long answer is doing the work on it. But you have to know that when you go there, they don't see you. They don't know you. So now maybe something a little bit more tactical for you. It's like imagine that you when you're there that that they're just seeing what they want to see. And it's not about you, it's about them. Because I imagine when they're rude to you, you internalize it and then, it fucks with you. I get it. No one likes to be treated like shit. I get it. Like, trust me, I get it. Um, but laugh at it. Dude, this guy is so mean to me and he doesn't even know me. He must have had the worst experience. Do you treat all salespeople like this? Mr. Prospect, can I ask you a question? You must have, hey, I get the feeling you've had bad experiences with salespeople in the past. I just have this feeling because if you actually knew me, I don't think you would be this mean. And you know what? I don't blame you. Most salespeople suck at their jobs. In fact, most salespeople didn't even choose to be in that job. They just needed money. Imagine a field like healthcare with doctors that don't even want to be doctors. They just did it for the money. So get curious, like notice it. Like when you're there, Josh, and you notice them being rude, just be like, "Oh, cool. I noticed that that's the part of him that hates salespeople. Got it. Cool. I'm dealing with that part." It's not his whole truth. It's not who this guy is. When he leaves this call, he's not pissed off and hating salespeople. That's not his whole being. But there's a part that you bring out in him, and it's not you, but your presence brings that out. So you have to learn how to just hang out there and not lose presence and just be there. Hey, I noticed this guy. I noticed that part's coming out. Okay, got it. Yeah. Hey, out of curiosity, did you have bad experiences with salespeople in the past? No. Okay, just checking. All right.
Yeah.
Is that helpful?
Yeah, really. Thank you.
JJ,
I
I know
love
we
it.
have to jump here. I need to ask like
Well,
one quick question, like one super fast one.
all
You
right.
just
Well, I have one, and then I'll let you go.
okay, cool.
Bowtied, can you send or just rapid fire a book list recommendations? Everybody's asking and they want to know.
On the spot. Can I think about it and then email you, JJ? I don't want to give a
Yeah,
half
yeah,
like
that's fine. We can
okay.
send out. We can send out in the group. Yeah. Lou, go
Okay, I'll
ahead. What's the
text
last question?
Yeah, thank you so much, man. So really quick, like just based on all of our questions, I guess like how you actually like view the level that we're at, what would be like the one most critical piece of advice that you would give us holistically to actually grow the most, right? Like get the most fucking value from, man. Because I feel like there's so many questions I want to ask, but I want to hear from you. Like, what question do you feel like we should be asking? And like that one piece of advice that you'd give.
Uh, um, hmm, hmm. I'm struggling with this, Lou. You got me. It's a really good question. Because giving a simple answer. It's like that quote where if you want me to write out an idea in like 100 pages, give me whatever. Like I'll do it pretty fast. But if you want me to take that same message and do it in one page versus one sentence or one paragraph, it's like it'll take me my whole fucking life to do. So I don't know how to answer your question. I mean, I think like stay curious and try like just get to know yourself better. Like, how about this? Every judgment that you have in your meetings and your deals is a distortion. So every time you have a charge or some kind of feeling, like get curious about it. Like, where is that coming from? And then if you get really curious, you start to peel that back. I think that'll get you guys, because from my read of the room is that you guys are your heads are full of frameworks. You probably follow people that are talking about sales, you're reading books, you're consuming a lot of content. I'm going to give you a different take on it. I think like come back to you. Know yourself and your judgments, journal daily, like get to know like why am I triggered by this buyer? And it's never going to be about like them only. It's going to always come back to you. Why are you so pissed? Or why are you so deflated? Like what happened? And it takes a lot of courage to do that because you have to go look in your past and probably in your childhood. But that stuff, just we bring it today, right? We think we have choice today, but we're not. We're operated by the machine, our unconscious. But if we can begin to become aware of why we do what we do, then it's like, holy shit, I really do have free will. I have power. So I don't know if that answers, but that's how I think about it.
Wow.
Unreal, man. Unreal. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Bowtied Sales Guy. Thank you so much for today. I'll get you this recording, everybody, and Bowtied, I'll send this to you too. We'll all shoot you a message back and forth, and hopefully we can get you a couple more times in here. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, JJ. Bye, guys.